Good morning, everybody. I'm just excited to welcome everyone to the new year. And this is episode 1 of season 2. And today I've got my dear friend Millie Oakeson with us. Millie, we did this during season 1. Welcome back.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you bringing me back.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about. Millie's the director of marketing and business development at Diamondback Health Care out on the west side of town, and they've got some incredible offerings. We talked about the rehab side of your world in our last conversation. Today, we're going to focus on the memory care component, which is absolutely one of the most unique and premier memory care programs in the city. But for our audience, I just want to welcome you back and tell you a little again. Senior Resource Connectors was created about 3 years ago as a place where we believe some of the best providers for families and seniors who are experiencing challenges with aging, where the best providers come together under one umbrella. And we are creating an outreach, particularly to the adult kids. Millie, you went through your own family journey not too long ago. I'm living one with my mother. My wife is living one with her family. Our partner's living one with his mom. Man, I don't know anybody that isn't living this in some way, right?
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
And
A lot of the people that are in this industry have come from an experience with a family member or, a close friend or that type of thing. And they've then decided to work in this industry.
Isn't that something that's sometimes opens
Yes.
the door? Yeah.
Yeah.
So our mission, you guys, is just to reach those of you who are experiencing challenges, questions. Something doesn't feel right. And you don't know where to go. And sometimes you don't even know the questions, or you don't even know what to ask, right, Mel? And so that's why we're here. So tell us a little bit about Diamondback. Fill us in again on what goes on out where you guys are, and then lead us into the memory care portion of your program, if you would.
Sure. So Diamondback Health and Memory Care, we have 70 rehabilitation beds in the facility. We are out we're at 91st Avenue and Thomas, so we're out by Abrazo Hospital. We have respiratory therapy in-house, about 33 beds dedicated to vents and trachs. We have an in-house dialysis den that is managed by DaVita, and that has been a wonderful addition to this property in that our patients don't have to leave the building to go and have dialysis and come back. They can add it into their daily schedule here, and it doesn't interfere with their rehab. So we've been very happy about that. We also have 2 hospices that we support, and one is Savior Hospice. The other one is Hospice of the Valley, and they're in our building regularly. And so we have a lot. Our therapy group is Heritage Health Pro, and they do an excellent job here on campus. So it's divided up very nicely. We're skilled. We're a post-acute skilled, kind of a super SNF. And upstairs, we have memory care. So we have skilled memory care. Most everybody here in the Valley knows that memory care usually falls under assisted living and directed care certification. But we are licensed skilled. And in many ways, that's a good thing in that we have patients downstairs and residents upstairs. So right. I'm constantly getting them, Anyway, our residents upstairs can come in and they don't need to leave if they decline during the process of the, illness. And so we feel very comfortable about that. We have quite a few memory care respites coming in that end up transitioning over, and we have 24 beds upstairs. And right now we're a fairly new property, so we have about a little over 10 long-term care residents, and then our respite residents that come in.
You know, Millie, after doing placement as long as I have and having a nursing background, I'm super familiar with the disease process, that dementia, and I want to take a second to have you define that. But the various forms of dementia often come along with a lot of um, decline in or advancement in the fragility of their health, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
so I, as a placement specialist, often lean towards memory care communities that didn't just do it as an add-on to their services, but that dedicated a strong healthcare team and even 24-hour nursing at the
yes,
assisted living level, because they could handle and work with families through the end of life, and there wouldn't be any surprises later. To do it at a skill level is awesome from my
it
point of
is.
view, and I think for the consumer's point of view.
Well, it is, because then we have, of course, we have nurses clear throughout the building.
Mm.
We have CNAs on staff, and
Mhm.
so it's a completely different model than what some other, communities are
Mhm.
doing. Not, not necessarily one's better than the other. It's just a difference in the longevity of,
Sure.
the disease and that type of thing. So, we are owned by Integro Health Services, and they are strong supporters of the Montessori inspired lifestyle.
Okay.
And most everybody here, which, thankfully there is history here in our own valley of Montessori. Most people associate it with children.
Right.
And of course, the approach was based on the work of Dr. Maria Montessori. And it's a way of living, when her work was focused in the beginning on children that had disabilities, and then later on children from impoverished families, found from from teaching children that had learning disabilities, and then also later, of course, as I stated, the children of impoverished parents, was
Mhm.
that if you use the right learning approach, if you use the abilities a person has and build on them, you're able to achieve amazing results. So that's really where the Montessori for dementia came about, was that they started using the same set of principles and techniques, and found that, it worked really well with people that had dementia or, related disorders of the same kind.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will you just put a frame around when we talk about dementia? We throw it around. It's pretty interchangeable.
Mhm.
Just put a quick frame around that on what we're talking about here.
So, as you stated even earlier, there are numerous types
Mhm.
of dementia. And it includes Alzheimer's.
Mm.
A lot of people will end up using Alzheimer's as you know, whole
The whole catch.
the whole catch. And that's not the situation. I mean, we have dementia from Parkinson's, we have dementia from strokes, we have, I
Mm.
mean, there's so many different forms
Mhm.
of dementia. And so in my vocabulary, I usually just use the word dementia being related to all different types of
Right.
diagnosis,
Right.
that type of
Right.
thing.
Right.
So it's someone that has trouble thinking.
Yeah.
It's not as simplistic as that, but yet it is, in that someone starts to have a difficult time remembering certain things. That
And
doesn't
it's a
mean
disease process, as opposed to
it
the
is.
normal forgetfulness that comes with aging. There's a
It
disease
is.
form
And
coming
it's
through.
important to remember, which a lot of people don't understand, that someone that has dementia can still learn, they can still learn new things,
Mm.
sometimes based on what they know from their past and long-term memory. And so, it just depends on how we go about teaching them. And
Mhm.
the Montessori inspired lifestyle is based on certain principles that we use regularly in our memory care unit is called Desert Diamond Memory Pavilion.
Mm.
And so we use those principles, and sometimes they may seem kind of basic, um, and I'm reading them off, but we have 12 key Montessori principles, and the activity should have a purpose and capture interest. We find out what that resident enjoyed doing in their past life. And that's something that's really important to understand who that patient, or excuse me, that resident is,
Right.
and what their past was like. And we invite them to participate in certain things, and we offer them choices whenever possible. And we demonstrate more and talk less. Physical skills, we focus on what they can do, whether
Mhm.
it's just folding laundry or helping to set the table or different things like that, things that are familiar to them. So,
Right. That history, as you indicated, often gives us a clue to what their interest would be in order to continue to learn new things. There is
yes,
great detail in the research that talks about even after mild cognitive impairment or dementia has been diagnosed, to continue to learn new things. It does stress the brain in all the right ways to
yes,
protect itself from further degeneration and further
right.
decline, longs out the process and allows more of the person to stay present and not be lost to the disease, right?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And unfortunately, with dementia in the past, and hopefully moving forward, we're not doing this as much. But
Mhm.
when someone was given a diagnosis, everything just stopped right there. We weren't stimulating them or continuing to stimulate them, or giving them purpose, or in so much of the research now
Yeah,
has shifted,
yeah,
that and everything that they're doing moving forward to try and find new avenues to help people with dementia,
right.
have really are really focusing on keep that person active,
Yeah.
give that person a purpose, keep them involved, those types of things.
And
So,
I'm sure the benefit to their mental health is huge, right? Because
yes,
think about it, if you're the guy that gets the diagnosis and all of a sudden you're like, well, my life's over. That's a death sentence. And
yeah,
I might have 9 years still to go. You don't know. And
exactly.
so my goodness,
Yes.
I still got experiences to have with my family. I still have
Hmm.
memories to make and to inspire people to stay healthy and stay alive and not
Yeah,
prepare for death immediately,
exactly.
right? And shut down.
And we have one little gentleman that, um, when he comes to us, he's on kind of a respite basis right now.
Mhm.
He loves to be involved, and because he's not at home, I mean, it's that, that thinking of the family needs to do things for me. Don't, but you really need to let the resident do, or the family member do whatever they're capable of doing.
There's
So,
a real attention to maintaining dignity and not just pay lip service to it, to really
exactly.
maintaining one's dignity. Thank you for
Yes. Yes.
you're the only program like this that I know of, right? There's nothing else that
We are
is
in the
around
process.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are, there are 30 in the country, and you have
right.
to go through a certification
Okay.
program. And so the Center for Applied Research in Dementia is who certifies you for the Montessori program.
Okay.
And they're, thankfully, some of them are right here in Phoenix, but They work with communities all across the country.
Wow.
And we have such a high presence here in the Valley of Montessori and the Montessori principles, based on children, and the preschools and that type of thing. We're actually very excited to be a part of this,
Yeah.
and take it into the next step. So, yeah.
We've got just a couple minutes left, and I just maybe wanted to spend it talking about family that's touched by this. Family has someone they're concerned about, or maybe received that diagnosis or mild cognitive impairment, which is kind of the precursor to a blown diagnosis of dementia. What can we do? What can we say to those folks? How can we support them? Where do they get resources? How can they talk to somebody?
Well, number one, they can get resources through senior resource connectors, and you all do such a wonderful job of pointing people in the right direction, where to go and get information. We're just one of numerous different programs for dementia that we have here in Phoenix. And so, this one is just a little bit different, based on kind of a set of key values that take respect and dignity and equality and trust into consideration in all of the education and things that we do here. I think what you've said is getting the right information, and of course, we're happy to answer any questions regardless, even if you're just looking for information at any time.
I really speak to um, the essentialness of getting answers.
Yes,
Don't put your head in the sand. Do not. This disease.
right.
This is a terminal Alzheimer's and the various forms of dementia. It's terminal. And so the sooner you address it and face it head on and get educated and get resources, life can still happen. That's what you're telling me.
Yes,
Still have life.
yes,
But when
yes,
you put your head in the sand and let things go, now you're asking for
yes,
what I call,
yes.
the big haboob of your life can happen. And
Be proactive
be proactive.
with anything. I mean, we also tell our rehab patients the same thing. You have to be proactive. We live in a different time now, and we have to be our own advocates, and we have to be proactive in getting the information and care that we're all in need of. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you just if you, for our listeners, if or our audience, if you don't know this, Arizona has two 1 and 1A healthcare crises hitting our aging population: falls and the
Yes,
predominance of dementia.
yes,
So to say, hey, that's not happening, that's in somebody else's backyard, that's not true. That's everywhere.
right.
And so Connectors not only partners with incredible programs like Diamondback Healthcare and Memory, we have partnerships with the Arizona Alzheimer's Association. There's an organization, a nonprofit called Makers of Care, that provides coaching and support groups for families affected. We have another resource in our group. She calls herself the Dementia Whisperer. Laura is a special person. And in season 2, we're going to have episodes with the founders of both of those organizations and talk to us more about this, Millie, because it's so critical. And I just don't want our adult kids to go, oh, I can't deal with this.
Right.
We're going to give you tools to help you deal with this, especially
Absolutely. Yeah.
denial and pushback is part of the issue too.
Well, it is. I mean, I think anybody that receives that diagnosis is going to go through a series of emotional things. But the one thing, and you have just said it, is you really have to get out there and be proactive, and advocate for yourself. So get the information that you need. So.
Yeah. Well, guys, when we fade out here, Millie, there will be Millie's contact information, and certainly she's able to field your calls, questions. Our office, our family advocate, and our brand ambassador are here to answer your questions, help you get to the right resources that you need wherever you are in the journey, or get your questions answered so we can care for you and support you in the process. We are a service that is no charge to families. We guide you to the right steps. And as I said, our coalition made up of 40 something of the absolute best providers. After 20 something years of service in this industry, Millie, we've connected to some of the best of the best.
Yes, yes, you have, and you're doing
Yeah.
a wonderful job. We're so thankful to be a part of this with you, this partnership. So we greatly appreciate, Scott, everything that you and Stacy are doing on this behalf.
You
So,
got it. Thank you, Millie. My best to you
thank
and
you.
everybody out there. We'll see you soon. Thank
All
you
right.
for watching with us today, you guys. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.